WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. A West Point man serving a life sentence for kidnapping will get a new sentence. Artravius Gaston robbed the Sprint Mart on Military Road in February 2015. Gaston also held two store workers against their will and sexually assaulted them. He was convicted of kidnapping and other crimes. The judge sentenced him to life on the kidnapping counts. The Mississippi Court of Appeals Monday rejected the life sentence. State law says a jury must make that sentence part of its verdict. A sentencing hearing must now be rescheduled for Gaston. He could receive a maximum of 30 years on each kidnapping conviction. The ruling does not change his convictions, only his sentence. We now know the names of the victim and the suspect in a deadly shooting in Tupelo. Sendarius Isby is in the Lee County Jail charged with murder. Monday afternoon, officers responded to the North Mississippi Medical Center for a reported shooting victim. Their investigation revealed the shooting happened at the Oak Apartments on Green Tea Road. Lee County Coroner Carolyn Green confirms 27-year-old Toyrius Lockridge of Tupelo is the victim. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. Isby's bond has not been set. The investigation into the shooting continues. Anyone with information should call Tupelo Police or Crime Stoppers. The Pickens County Sheriff's Department makes an arrest in the September death of a 4-year-old boy. 29-year-old Marcavius Forte is charged with felony murder and aggravated child abuse. Sheriff David Abston says Taylor Cunningham died at Pickens County Medical Center in September. District Attorney Andrew Hamlin says Taylor had significant injuries, some in various states of healing. Taylor and his mother were living with Forte at the time of the child's death. Forte is being held at the Pickens County Jail on a bond of totaling more than $1 million. Now, Taylor Cunningham died in September. It took nearly 8 months before his autopsy came back, giving investigators the evidence they wanted in order to make an arrest. Our Riley Livingston takes a look at why it can take patience to make a good case. She joins us live in the studio.
Joey, sometimes during an investigation, the evidence all lines up, but in other cases, it takes time for the puzzle pieces to fall into place. That's what happened in Pickens County.
You know, it's frustrating to everybody to have to wait, but it's important and it's appropriate and it's necessary, and that's what we did.
District Attorney Andrew Hamlin says the case of Taylor Cunningham's death is different than most. It required time and waiting for autopsy results before making an arrest.
It was different from the standpoint of it just took some time to get the forensic analysis back, as well as the autopsy back from the Department of Forensic Sciences. Those are things that in an investigation like this, we have to have back in order to piece together what happened.
Hamlin says while it's important to be persistent in pursuing a case, it's also important to not get ahead of the evidence. Investigators also have to keep their emotions in check to get the job done right.
You have to set those feelings aside, and you have to look at the facts and the evidence, and you follow it. And I feel like that the arrest of Mr. Forte is the first step at bringing him to justice. It's an emotional case. It's an emotional investigation just by virtue of the people involved and the age of the child and the injuries and the life that child was subjected to during the final days of his life. But you have to set that aside and do your job.
Even with the arrest of Marcavius Forte, Hamlin says closure may be elusive.
I don't necessarily believe in closure because a wound like this never heals. You've got a 4-year-old that's died, that's passed away in circumstances like this. So for me and for this office, bringing this person to justice is absolutely tantamount, is paramount that we do that. If it provides some degree of healing for this child's loved ones, and I absolutely want to do that.
District Attorney Hamlin says the next step is bringing Forte to court.
New at 6, the owners of a Columbus adult novelty store plead guilty to federal charges of selling altered drugs. Dean and Louisa Priest both agreed to plead to one count of misbranding a drug in interstate commerce. They sold supplements containing the drug sildenafil, the active ingredient in Viagra, to a buyer in Oregon. In June 2017, a warehouse connected to Sensations was raided. FDA agents seized thousands of supplements billed to improve sexual performance. Court records show the altered drugs were sold through June 2017. Dean Priest also admitted guilt to smuggling the pills into the U.S. from China. A sentencing date has not been set. Federal agents are looking to recover any property bought with proceeds of the drug sales. Webster County deputies catch an accused Star-Spangled Banner thief. You may recall this surveillance video from East Webster High School. The American flag was taken from the school's campus on April 19th. Investigators are not releasing the name of the person who was arrested. However, the man from Corinth is facing petty larceny and receiving stolen property charges. Alcorn County deputies assisted in that investigation. Time now to turn things over to meteorologist Jacob Dickey. He joins us with a first look at our forecast.
Hey Joey, very nice and summer-like day out there for us. Temperatures climbing into the 80s with a mix of sun and clouds out and about. Through the evening, I think those temperatures will cool off into the 70s, eventually down into the 60s. 82 right now in Columbus with south winds at 11 miles an hour. A little bit sticky out there with those dew points in the 60s and upper 50s. 14-mile-an-hour winds out of the south, and Tupelo temperature there is 81. As we look across the south, really basking in the warmth of this late spring, early summer-like weather. Had their first 90s in parts of Alabama earlier on today. We're not going to get anywhere quite close to that, but we do keep a summer-like pattern for a while. Could be a few isolated showers tomorrow. Some scattered to numerous showers and storms are in the weekend. We'll time it out for you coming up in just a bit.
It's election year across Mississippi. State and county offices are all up for grabs, and the candidates are already hitting the campaign trail tonight. The Monroe County Chamber of Commerce is making it easier to talk to those running for office. It's hosting an event to bring everyone together. Our Cash Matlock joins us live with more.
That's right, Joey. I'm here at the Monroe County Airport, just outside of the Aero Hangar, where the Monroe County Chamber of Commerce, as you can see behind me, they are hosting this campaign forum. It's set to take place from 6 to 8 p.m. today. Now, I've been told that all 57 candidates in Monroe County have been invited out to meet the voters and in a very casual and networking style setup. Now, this is a great opportunity for residents of Monroe County to come out and not only meet those political candidates face to face, they can register to vote and they can find out which voting precinct they need to report to on election day. Now, of course, this is all gearing up for that primary election set for August 6th. I'm going to have more on this tonight, and we're going to hear from some community members. But for now, reporting live outside of the Monroe County Airport, I'm Cash Matlock. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
We'll give you a first look inside a new building with space for families at the area's only homeless shelter. That story is coming up on WCBI News.
You're watching WCBI's News at 6 with Joey Barnes.
Welcome back, everyone. The area's only homeless shelter will soon be able to take in families. WCBI's Allie Martin has an update and a look inside the addition to the Tupelo Salvation Army.
Nearly 2 years ago, groundbreaking ceremonies were held for a new, larger shelter at Tupelo's Salvation Army.
And 3.
All right. Now the Jim Ingram Red Shield Lodge is almost complete.
This is going to allow us to more than double the capacity of the shelter.
Major Jeff Daniels showed us around for a sneak peek inside. There is a secure front entrance where each person is screened. Men are taken to the left side, women to the right. The men's dorm has space for 25, while the women's side can sleep 20. The biggest advantage over the old space are dedicated apartments for families. There are a total of 5 family units. Major Daniels says not having spaces for families has been an issue.
If a single mother with children comes in and they're all females and we have the room, they're able to stay on the women's side of the lodge. But if she has male children, if they're under 10 years of age, they're able to stay in with the women. But once they get to be 10 years old or older, it's not fair to the children nor to the other women clients. So then there's really no place for them to go.
There have been some delays with this project, among them weather and engineering studies. But Major Daniels says the Salvation Army wants to be sure that everything is done right the first time, and the resources that have been donated are used wisely.
The Salvation Army has done this in numerous communities, and they know and have learned from experience the problems that arise, and the importance is that they build a facility that is going to be the longest lasting and the most economic to operate and the best to serve the community.
The $3 million price tag also includes renovations to the chapel. Administrative space is being converted to classrooms for kids, and there will be a major overhaul and expansion of the kitchen and gym. Those projects will start after the new shelter is opened. In Tupelo, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
Daniels says an opening celebration is slated for early June.
Not a bad evening for us here. Temperatures will fall into the low to middle 60s out there tonight under a partly cloudy sky. Rain, though. Rain and storms are around the corner. I'll time it out for you coming up here after the break.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with meteorologist Jacob Dickey.
We're taking a look in downtown Louisville, Mississippi right now, off to the west, seeing the sun start to set. And some of those high clouds in place might end up with a nice, colorful sunset later. Temperature in Louisville is at 80 right now. Dew points are in the low to mid 60s across much of the region, so perhaps has just a little bit of that summer-like feel. Down to 79 right now at Starkville, 81 in West Point, Amory at 81. It's 81 also in Tupelo, Columbus, and Macon are at 82. Those temperatures will continue to slide down into the 70s over the next few hours. And I think tonight we're going to end up in the low to middle 60s under a mix of, we'll call it a partly cloudy sky, maybe mostly clear. Look for light south winds generally under 5 miles an hour. I think 63 is where we end up in Columbus and in West Point, 66 in Pontotoc, 63 in Eupora, Winona down to 64. It'll be 63 in Vernon, Alabama overnight tonight. As we look at regional radar, a big batch of showers and storms off to our west across the Great Plains. A severe weather outbreak ongoing right there right now. So far, 19 tornadoes have been reported by the National Weather Service from Texas up through southwest Missouri. The good news is I don't think that has to come our way. We'll keep the chance for severe weather away, and hopefully for the season we've traded it off to our west, and we'll keep it more of a summer-like pattern. And I think that's how things are going to look tomorrow for us here. We're dry tonight, but we may end up with some pop-up showers and storms as we go through the overnight hours tonight, really I think by the day on Wednesday. Notice those rain and storms stay off to our north and our west. That's a good thing here. But by the morning hours, perhaps a few little pop-ups here and there, a little maybe rumble of thunder, nothing significant out there. Many of us on Wednesday will be staying dry. As we head into Wednesday night, then we'll see a batch of showers and storms off to our west. But overall, I think it just seems to dissipate before it gets into our area. We're looking more at a summer-like pattern for us. So we'll call it partly cloudy on Wednesday. Temperatures heading for the middle, some of us into the upper 80s out there. We'll look for south winds generally between 5 and 10 miles an hour. Got 84 in Tupelo and in Amory, Houston, 83, 84 in Calhoun City, up to 85 in Aberdeen. Into the Golden Triangle, some mid, even upper 80s for us. 86 in Columbus, West Point, and Starkville. Macon and DeKalb at 87. It'll be 86 in Louisville, 85 in Ackerman. And then into West Alabama, mid 80s for us also. 84 in Solent and in Vernon, Reform at 84. It'll be 85 in Aliceville by Wednesday afternoon. As we look ahead here, we're staying things pretty dry for us. Most of those rain and storms are off to our north and west Wednesday and maybe even to Thursday before we get some better chance for showers and storms. We'll call it scattered showers and storms on Thursday. But again, not really thinking a severe threat out of this. What does happen, though, is that boundary stalls out in our region, and that's going to increase the chance of rain, especially if we go into Friday and Saturday. we'll call it numerous to scattered showers and storms then. Seems like we could see some heavier rain in spots here, maybe 1 to upwards of 2 inches. Of course, some will see a little more, some see a little bit less. I'm thinking more of a summer type pattern, maybe not a washout by any means, but definitely something we'll have to watch. For tonight, low to middle 60s out there, few clouds and staying mild. Over the next 7 days then, I really think that for the most part, Wednesday is dry beside an isolated shower or storm. Scattered storms on Thursday. Friday and Saturday looks more scattered to numerous. We'll be drying things out by the time we get to Sunday.
All right, thanks, Jacob. The Bulldogs add another opponent to the schedule, hoping to use baseball for a good cause. The details are next in sports.
WCBI Sports with Tom Ebel is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
Mississippi State baseball is off to one of its best starts in school history, and when playing some of the program's best ball, you'd want a full schedule. The Bulldogs remained below 56 regular season games due to a cancellation earlier in the year with Nebraska, but now it's back to a full slate and for a good cause. Bulldogs baseball adding Louisiana Tech to its schedule, pitting the matchup on May 14th. Admission into the game is free, but the Salvation Army will be on site collecting donations to support Ruston and Louisiana Tech in the wake of devastating tornadoes that touched town last week. First pitch for May 14th is set for 6:30. The NCAA Tennis Championships begin this weekend, and the 1 seed in men's singles resides in Starkville. Nuno Borges securing the #1 seed, the first Bulldog to do so since Marco Barron did it back in 2001. Mississippi State will host the first 2 rounds of the tournament. Matches beginning Friday with the Bulldogs facing Alabama State around 1 p.m. Amory's Lucas Flippo wins the 4A boys single state championship for the 2nd straight year. On the tennis side, and on the right, he's on the right and defeating Caledonia's Hunter Logan, who's with them on the left. It was a big day as well for Caledonia tennis. Sunny Logan takes home the 4A girls single state championship for the 2nd straight season. Golf state champions crowned in North Mississippi. Today, Baldwin boys take home the Class 1 title, pulling off a big comeback. They were down 12 strokes to begin the day to win by 3. The Bearcats, winners of 3 straight titles. TCPS, the runners-up. Kai Meeks of Walnut, the individual champion on the boys' side. And then on the girls' side in Class 2, Van Cleve takes home the title. Nettleton finishing 2nd. But the story is Nettleton's Riley Mayhew winning her 5th straight individual title. She shot 137 for the tournament. Hebron Christian Academy's Rachel McGrew signs to play softball with MUW. The 2-sport athlete also hopes to try for a spot on the Owls basketball team, but says MUW has always been the goal to pursue a career in nursing.
I've always wanted to go to that school. Originally, I wanted to play basketball, but once he showed me all the opportunities I could achieve playing softball, it was just a no-brainer.
Big day for high school sports around the viewing area. Starkville Academy's senior pitcher Griffin Little signing with Meridian Community College. Griffin and the Vols, they're in for playoff action. First pitch just started at the top of the hour at 6 o'clock. Little on the mound taking on Bayou Academy. Speaking of high school baseball, playoffs are now here. We're into the 3rd round for the high school baseball state tournament. We'll have much more on the matchups coming up at 10 right here on WCBI Sports. And I believe one more matchup left before we're on to the North and South half finals for high school softball. Myrtle and Smithville in action right now. At last check, Smithville was up 7-2. That would keep the season alive. We'll have highlights from Myrtle coming up tonight at 10 on WCBI Sports as well. But that's it for sports. We'll ask your forecast coming up right after the break.
Today is National Adopt a Shelter Pet Day. It's to raise awareness for the pets that are waiting to be adopted from animal shelters across the country. Once shelters work to meet pets' health needs and their well-being, the process of getting them adopted can begin. Many people are celebrating today by sharing pictures of their own adopted pets on social media.
I'm sure too, with the pets, if you think of Bob Barker, what he always said, don't forget to
spay and neuter.
That's right, yeah.
Right?
So do that. But really nice day. Great day to take the dogs out.
Absolutely.
So yeah, really tonight too, if you're going for a walk, things are dry out there. If you look ahead the next couple of days though, really, maybe can we call it the dog days of summer slowly sneaking on in, getting to feel like that with some of those
Won't
pop-up.
be long.
Yeah, well, really won't be. Really some pop-up showers and storms. Better chances coming into Friday and into Saturday, unfortunately. So if we get Sunday, I think, looking overall dry, but something worth watching.
Yeah, a lot of folks watching that Market Street forecast coming up for Friday and Saturday.
Yep, we'll be keeping you updated.
All right, thanks a lot, Jacob. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Have a great night.